thank you for coming to our student panel today on the Charter, formerly known as the Charter of Quebec Values. Now, of course, renamed the Charter affirming the values of secularism and the religious neutrality of the state, as well as the equality of men and women and the framing of accommodation requests. Most of the debate about the Charter focuses on the third proposal, which states, and I quote again, "We propose to prohibit the wearing of overt and conspicuous religious symbols by state personnel in carrying out their duties. This restriction would reflect the state's neutrality," end of quote. If it hasn't exactly unified Quebecers, this restriction has, as the jokester says, managed to do what peacemakers for decades have not: unite Jews, Muslims, Sikhs, and Christians together. For our panel, we have enlisted the help of Nancy Wood, who will be moderating the event.
Well, as long as my belief as a religious person does not affect anyone, and as long as I am not trying to impose my belief or my way of life onto others, why would it matter that I'm wearing the hijab, the turban, or the kippah?
The purpose that's given is that they fear people who will wear religious symbols in state jobs will have a proselytizing effect on others that they are working with. I can't tell you the last time that someone has ever told me that because of my kippah they wanted to convert to Judaism. So I just find this is completely an extreme.
In a democratic state which overlaps the rights of the individuals, and in no manner should a state trample on the core values this country has struggled to establish, which are the freedom of expression and religious confession, by making its citizens invisible.
It seems to me that the government refers to our province's common heritage as that of the Christian and Catholic French descendants who reside in Quebec. This leaves out the rest of us. Are we not a part of Quebec's heritage? I believe we are.
Why are you taking it so far when, in fact, it's just a sensible decision, the same way the political neutrality has to be kept within the state personnel, and now religious neutrality has to be kept within the state personnel? Why do you feel so threatened at such a neutral approach?
Well, the law is just basically telling me, be half naked. This is what I see. If someone tells me, take off your veil, this is me seeing it being half naked.
So all I want to know is, do you think, and the question's a really wide open one, do we need limits or guidelines, or is Quebec society going along fine without the limits and guidelines? Because right now we don't have anything that tells us what's reasonable or not.
I think the only limit that we should have is the one proposed by the Charter itself, which is to remove any facial coverings such as the niqab or the burqa, because it's an issue of trust. When I'm receiving a service or I'm giving a service to someone, I feel like to see their face, it presents, it gives me a sense of security and safety.
The Quebec government will deprive us of our own individuality and our own religious expressions in order to indulge in this common heritage.
One of the values this Charter ironically tends to protect is the fact that we all live together in spite of our, meanwhile respecting our differences and sharing our values and beliefs.
And if we believe that no one should be showing, who's working for the government should be showing an overt symbol of religion, and the crucifix has no place in the National Assembly, do we want to keep that cross on Mount Royal? Is it a heritage landmark that we all treasure, or do some people feel offended when they see it?
It's really absurd. History is history. History, just because we have a cross on Mount Royal, that won't change my history, that won't change the fact that I am Muslim. It's simply an emblem that tells us, okay, long ago, this is what happened here and this is what happened there.
The latest we hear now is that health institutions would have up to 9 years to adapt. So you might just be, becoming a full-time doctor just as this came in. Would it change your mind? Would you say, I'm not going to practice in Quebec, or I'm going to practice, but I feel like they've taken away part of my identity, I won't be able to wear my kippah? What about you?
I would leave Quebec because I feel that they want us, well, the Quebec government wants us to indulge in this common heritage that we have, which is the Quebec heritage, yet deny all people who have such faith that are observant, and I personally am an observant Jew, of my basic right to religion. And for me, religion comes above any Quebec value.
The political opponents say that the Parti Québécois deliberately putting this issue out to get people talking about this instead of, say, you know, jobs, economic growth, some other political issues we have. So is this a false debate that's just trying to, something that everyone can have an opinion on? Or
Well, like we completely forgot about corruption in Montreal, in the province. We completely forget about our healthcare system that's crumbling. We completely forget about the educational system, which after the reform, as much as it brought secularization, has gone terrible. I mean, it's atrocious what's happening. And here we are discussing these matters, which are important. Of course, they've touched. I mean, we wouldn't be here if they weren't important. But perhaps there's more important ideas that we should be discussing.
So you're all old enough to vote now, right? If we had an election in a few months, some people say no. Would you want to be voting on this?